Hello friends, welcome back to Civil Engineering Mastery. In the previous video we had discussed about cantilever slab basics. So in this video let's take one problem and then solve it. So here we have the cantilever slab of 4 feet 6 inches. The span of the cantilever is 4 feet 6 inches. Slab thickness is 6 inches. And let's see how do we design this cantilever slab with step-by-step procedure. Grade of concrete we have M20. Grade of steel is Fe415. Cantilever span is 4 feet 6 inches. First step, we need to find out the effective depth as per span to depth ratio. So span to depth ratio for cantilever slab is 7, that is multiplied with modification factor as per class number 23.2. So here we need to find out the stress. To find out the stress, there is a formula 0.58 Fy AST required by AST provided. So this is for the tension reinforcement. So here what we can do is 0.58 Fy is grade of steel 415, AST required and AST provided is same. We are considering, still we didn't do the calculation, so we are considering both are same. So that is why we took the value as 1 here. We need to assume the percentage of reinforcement, percentage of tension reinforcement. Here I have assumed as 0.2%. So by using this stress and percentage of steel, let's calculate the modification factor. In IS 456 figure 4, modification factor for tension reinforcement. So here we know the percentage of tension reinforcement, that is we have assumed as 0.2 and our stress value is 240. So by using these two values we can find out the modification factor. So 0.2 will come here percentage, and then if we go here for 240 modification factor, it comes around 1.6. So let's take this value 1.6 as a modification factor and then start the calculation. So span by depth value is 11.2, 7 multiplied by 1.6 we get 11.2. We know span is 1370, which is 4 feet 6 inches. Span by depth is 11.2. From this we can find out the effective depth. So effective depth is equal to 122.32 mm. So we need to find out the overall depth. Overall depth is effective depth plus clear cover plus dia by 2. So here effective depth we know and clear cover 15 mm for slab, dia by 2. So we are assuming 10 mm dia bar, 10 by 2. So overall depth is 142.32 we are getting. So let's take it as 150 mm. Let's round it off and take it as 150 mm. So from this we can find out the effective depth because we have rounded off the overall depth. So from this we need to find out the effective depth. Effective depth is equal to 150 overall depth minus clear cover minus dia by 2. So 130 mm we are getting as effective depth. The next step, let's find out the effective span. In part 1 video I have already explained about this effective span, effective depth and other design criteria for slab, especially cantilever slab. If you don't watch that video, please do watch that. The link is given in the description box. Effective span we can find out for cantilever slab is clear span plus effective depth by 2. So we know clear span is 1370 plus effective depth by 2. We get effective span is 1435 mm. In step 3 we need to find out the load. What are all the load coming on cantilever slab? So first we need to find out the dead load, that is self weight. We took the thickness as overall depth as 150 mm multiplied by unit weight of RCC, that is 25. So we get 3.75 kN per square meter. Next, floor finish load we are taking as 50 mm thick floor finish. So 0.05 multiplied by 20 is the weight of floor finish. So that we need to multiply with the thickness. So we get 1 kN per square meter. Next, live load we are taking as 2 kN per square meter. So total load on slab is all together we need to add, we get 6.75 kN per square meter. Next, let's calculate the parapet wall load. So here at the edge of the cantilever there is a parapet wall is coming. So wall thickness is 6 inches 150 mm. Wall height is 3 feet 0.9 meter. So wall load we need to calculate thickness multiplied by height multiplied by unit weight. So we get 2.7 kN per meter as a wall load. So in step 4 we need to calculate the bending moment. So we know the load, we know the effective span. So now we need to calculate the bending moment. The formula to calculate bending moment for cantilever is, for UDL it is WL square by 2 plus point load. The parapet wall load will act as a point load at the edge of the cantilever. So for that W into L we need to take. So here For slab, we are considering 1 meter width of slab, and then load we are calculating according to that. So 6.75 is the total load coming on slab, so that we are converting into kilonewton per meter, since we are considering 1 meter width of slab. And even wall load we are calculating for 1 meter width of slab, that is 2.7 kilonewton. So the arrangement look like this. So as I told you, 6.75 kilonewton per meter is acting as a UDL on the cantilever slab, and 2.7 is the point load which is acting at the edge of cantilever slab. So that's why we took this formula. For UDL it is WL square by 2 for cantilever slab, plus for this point load W into L. Bending moment, let's calculate. W is 6.75 multiplied by L is the effective span divided by 2. WL square by 2 plus W into L. W is this point load, 2.7 multiplied by effective span. So we get 10.82 kilonewton meter as the moment. Next we need to calculate the factored moment. So in step 5 we need to find out the area of tension reinforcement. So we know the bending moment. From this we need to find out the area, steel area. So for that we need to calculate mu by bd square. So we get mu by bd square as 0.960. So this is our mu by bd square. So using SP16 table 2 we need to find out the percentage of steel. Table 2 FCK 20 and steel grade is 415. So we need to find out the reinforcement percentage for the calculated mu by bd square value. So our bd square, mu by bd square value is 0.960. Here 0.95 and 1 is there. So we need to interpolate between these two values and then find out the percentage of steel. So 0.280 and 0.295. After interpolating we get percentage is 0.283 percentage. AST is 0.283 percentage multiplied by BD. BD is breadth and depth divided by 100. So we get 368 millimeter square. We know the AST. Next we need to find out the spacing. So for that we need to know the area of one bar. So here we are considering 10 mm dia bar. So area of one 10 mm dia bar is 78.5 per millimeter. So spacing we need to calculate from this. So area of one dia bar divided by the total area multiplied by 1000. So we get 213.3 mm. So this is the spacing we are getting. So we can make it as a 200. We can round it off, and then we can provide 10 mm dia at 200 mm center to center as a tension reinforcement. Reinforcement we have to provide at the top, and that I had explained in that part 1 video clearly why we need to provide this tension reinforcement at top in cantilever slab. So it is mandatory to know that always we need to provide the tension reinforcement at top in cantilever slab. Bottom we need to provide the compression steel. So now we know the spacing and dia of bar. So from this we need to calculate the PT provided, percentage provided, that is 100 AST provided divided by BD. So AST provided we need to calculate. We know AST required is 360 mm. So whatever the reinforcement we had provided, from that we need to calculate the area of steel provided. So 78.5 is the area of one bar divided by the spacing whatever we have provided, 200 mm multiplied by 1000, we get 392.5 mm square. So always you check this one, AST required should be less than the AST provided. Next PT provided. So from this AST provided we get percentage of steel is 0.302. Our percentage required was 0.3, but we had provided 0.302, which is more than required. Next, let's do the check for spacing. As per IS 456, we have two checks for spacing, that is 3 times the effective depth, and next one is 300 mm. So among these two, whichever is lesser, that we need to consider. So here we had taken the effective depth as 130 mm. So 3 times effective depth is 390 mm. So this is the spacing, and 300 is one more spacing. So among these two, lesser value is 300 mm. So we need to provide below this, like the spacing whatever we are providing, that should not exceed lesser of these two values. So we had given 200 mm only, which is less than 300. So then it is fine. It is satisfying this spacing criteria as per IS code. Next, let's do the check for depth. So mu is equal to 0.136 FCK BD square. By using this formula, we can check the depth provided. So we know the bending moment. So we get D value is 77.26 mm. So which is less than 130 mm. So whatever we are provided, the depth is sufficient according to this check. So for compression reinforcement, let's provide a minimum percentage of steel which is 0.12 percentage. As per IS 456-2000 for HYSD bars, we need to provide the minimum percentage is 0.12. So 0.12% of cross sectional area, not gross sectional area, it is a cross sectional area. So we need to take the effective depth here. So from this we can find out the area. 156 mm square is the area we get. So we know that area of 18 mm dia bar is 50.24. From this we can find out the spacing. So we are getting 322.05 mm. So here we can provide 8 mm dia at 250 mm center to center spacing. Next, let's calculate the distribution reinforcement. This is also very important. Always we need to provide the distribution reinforcement. To calculate distribution reinforcement, the formula is 0.12% of BD. So here this BD is like cross sectional area. So here we need to consider the overall depth, not the effective depth. So 0.12 multiplied by breadth multiplied by overall depth. Our overall depth is 150 mm. So according to that, we need to calculate area of 1 mm 18 mm bar is 50.24. Spacing we can calculate from this. We are getting 279. So let's provide 8 mm dia at 250 mm center to center as a distribution bar. Next step is check for shear. So first we need to calculate the shear force. Shear force is W, L is for UDL and W is for point load. So 6.75 multiplied by span, effective span plus 2.7, that is the point load. So we get the shear force 12.38 kilonewton. Factored shear force is 18.57 kilonewton. So we need to calculate the shear stress, that is tau V. Tau V is equal to VU by BD. So we can calculate from this formula 0.143 Newton per square millimeter we are getting, which is less than tau C max 2.8 Newton per millimeter square. So this I will show you in the IS 456 code. Next we need to find out the tau C value. For that we need to know the PT provided. So PT provided is 0.302 percentage. Next we need to find out the tau C value from IS 456-2000 table 19. So let me show you how do we find out the tau C value by using this PT provided. First let's see from this table 20. Maximum shear stress is tau C max, which is given for all the grades. So we have grade of concrete is M20. So for that tau C max value is 2.8 Newton per square millimeter. So whatever the value we have calculated, shear stress, that is less than the maximum shear stress. Tau V is less than tau C max. So that is satisfied. Next let's see the design shear strength of concrete. So we know that PT value is 0.302. So for M20 grade we need to find out. So here the value is given for 0.25 and 0.5. So we need to take between these two and then interpolate to find out the exact value between 0.36 and 0.48. After interpolating we get tau C is 0.384, which is greater than 0.143. 0.143 Newton per square millimeter is our shear stress value tau V. So that is less tau C 0.384. So shear stress is satisfied here. Check for shear is satisfied here. Tau V shear stress whatever we have calculated, that is less than tau C max as well as tau C. Next, check for deflection. Span by depth ratio is 11.2 as per previous calculation. We know the PT provided 0.3 percentage because this calculation is done as per the PT assumption, like as the percentage of steel assumed, because initially we took the percentage of steel as 0.2 percentage. Let's do the back calculation again. So we know the PT value, and as per IS 456-2000 page number 38, from this figure modification factor for tension reinforcement, let's calculate the stress first. We know the AST required and AST provided. So we get the stress as 225.67 Newton per square millimeter. And modification factor we can find out by using this stress and the PT provided. So PT provided is 0.3, that comes somewhere here, and then stress is 225, so that comes in between these two, 190 and 240. So if we calculate from this chart, so we get somewhere around here, that comes here. So let's consider modification factor value as 1.58. So span by depth, so span by D is equal to 7 multiplied by modification factor. So span by D value is 10.53, which is less than 7 multiplied by 1.58, which is equal to 11.06. Hence it satisfies the deflection criteria as per IS 456-2000. Next is the very important part, detailing part. So let's do the detailing. Here I have taken the section 1.1. So the section detail is given here. So we have the cantilever slab, and then this beam is the support for this cantilever slab. Beam 6 is the support for this cantilever slab, and again we have the back support of this slab. S6, slab number S6, we have a back support. So what we can do is that reinforcement arrangement we can do like this. So this is the top bar, tension reinforcement. As I told you, in cantilever slab we need to provide the tension reinforcement at top. So the main reinforcement is 10 mm dia at 200 mm center to center as per our calculation. Distribution bar is 8 mm dia at 250 mm center to center. And again compression steel we are providing as 8 mm at 250 mm center to center, and again this distribution bar also same 8 mm at 250 mm center to center. So this is the beam, and since we have the back support, back anchorage, so we need to provide the back anchorage for this cantilever slab. So we can extend this bar inside this backside slab. So this distance we can keep up to one time the length of the cantilever slab we can maintain, and this is the supporting beam. The beam size is 18 inches. 18 inches is the depth of the beam, that is including slab thickness. So this is how you need to provide the reinforcement arrangement whenever you have a back anchorage, like backside slab support also. If you have to provide the reinforcement details like this. Let me show you, if you don't have a backside support, only the cantilever slab is projecting from beam, how do we provide the reinforcement? In SP 34 class number 9.5, cantilever slab detailing reinforcement are given. So the main reinforcement shall be placed in top of the cantilever slab extending to sufficient length over the support and back into normal. And next one is secondary steel. Secondary steel at right angle to the support may be designed and detailed to carry the construction loading in the proper condition if necessary. Secondary steel is that transverse reinforcement distribution bar. Okay. Next, deflection in cantilever slab can be reduced by addition of compression steel at the bottom. This would also be helpful in counteracting possible reversal of bending moment. So compression steel actually not necessary, but still according to the deflection criteria we need to provide the compression steel. Also helpful in counteracting the possible reversal of bending moment. Let me show you the detailing. So here is the detailing. As I told you, if the back support is not there, only the cantilever slab is supported by beam. So then this way you have to provide the reinforcement. This is the main bar, and you have to provide the anchorage length, like you have to bend the bar like this and then keep it inside the slab again. So this length should be the development length, LD. LD is the development length. This is how you need to detail the cantilever slab when the back anchorage is not available. So friends, I hope you all like this video. Please do comment in the comment box if you have any queries. And don't forget to subscribe the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.